Very good morning and welcome to the Breakfast News. I'm Tracy Shilshi and here are today's headlines. The International Court of Justice stays Kulbushan Jadhav's execution. India had appealed against the violation of the Vienna Convention. Allahabad High Court says triple talaq is unsustainable and violative of fundamental rights. The Prime Minister appeals to the community to not allow politicization of the issue. Met Department predicts monsoon could be normal this year, says chances of an El Nino have reduced. The US President abruptly fires FBI Director James Comey, who was leading a probe into Trump's campaign's alleged collusion with Russia to rig the presidential poll results. And Moon Jae-in is officially announced South Korea's new president. Landslide win marks the end of nearly a decade of conservative rule. The International Court of Justice has stayed the execution of Indian national Kulbushan Jadhav by Pakistan. Jadhav was awarded the death sentence by a military court in Pakistan on charges of spying and subversive activities. India had appealed to the ICJ, stating that Pakistan had violated the Vienna Convention by not allowing consular access to him. India had also said that it was informed about his arrest much later and that Jadhav was kidnapped from Iran, where he was doing business after retiring from the Indian Navy. Pakistan, on the other hand, maintains that they arrested him from Balochistan after he entered from Iran in March 2016. External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj has said that she has spoken to Jadhav's mother and informed her of the ICJ order. Senior advocate Harish Salvi is representing India before the ICJ in this case. We look forward to reactions, of course, coming in from Pakistan and India through the day ahead. Meanwhile, Pakistan has said that it will send back International Uzma once all legal requirements in the case are completed. Now, Uzma was allegedly sexually abused after her forced marriage with a Pakistani man at gunpoint. The Foreign Office spokesperson, Nafeez Zakaria, said that they are in touch with Indian authorities and that Uzma would be allowed to go back once legal issues are settled. He said that the Indian High Commission has provided details about her and also sought documents of her marriage. Uzma had filed a plea against her husband, Tahir Ali, alleging that she was being harassed and intimidated by him. She told the magistrate that she came to Pakistan to see her relatives and not for marriage. The court has adjourned the case till the 11th of July and issued notices to Tahir to appear for the next hearing. It also summoned cleric Humayun Khan, who solemnized the marriage, to appear in person in the court on the next hearing. An army officer was found dead in Jammu and Kashmir's Shopian this morning. The lieutenant rank officer's body was found with bullet wounds in Harmain area of the district. Police say that he was kidnapped by terrorists late last night in neighbouring Kulgam when he went to attend a family function. The army has reportedly received an input and are verifying the circumstances under which the officer was found dead. In other news, in a significant ruling on Tuesday, the Allahabad High Court said that the practice of triple talaq was unsustainable as it violated the fundamental rights of women in the name of personal law. The court said that Muslim marriages were contracts and that could not be unilaterally cancelled by husbands without the consent of the partner. The court also said that basic rights and the human right of an individual cannot be exploited based on an individual's gender. In December last year, the Allahabad High Court had termed the Islamic practice of divorcing unconstitutional. A 5-judge constitution bench of the Supreme Court will examine the legality of practices not just like triple talaq, but also polygamy and nikah halala on the 11th of May. The centre has said that such practices do not form a part of essential religious practices in Islam and that they violate fundamental rights of women guaranteed by the Constitution. The Muslim Personal Law Board says that these matters of legislative policy and the judiciary cannot interfere with them.
Court कोर्ट ने कहा, स्पष्ट कर दिया है कि कोई भी कानून या कोई भी पर्सनल लॉ, चाहे व्यक्तिगत हो या चाहे सार्वजनिक रूप से हो, वो संविधान से बड़ा नहीं हो सकता। संविधान के दायरे में ही पर्सनल लॉ लागू होगा और जो भी पर्सनल लॉ के जो भी कानून संविधान का उल्लंघन कर रहे होंगे, अनुच्छेद का, मूल अधिकारों का, वो सब प्रभावी नहीं हो सकते, उनको लागू नहीं कराया जा सकता।
Gender justice, equality for women and protection of their rights should be the first yardstick. And of course, constitution and law is above each one of us. Every personal law, norms or notion has to be tested on the touchstone of constitutionality. Supreme Court is now hearing the matter. We 100% believe, and some of my colleagues of the Congress party are actually representing those Muslim women. We believe that full justice would be done. Gender justice would, the principle of gender justice would be upheld.
ये कि भाई 23 देशों ने बैन कर दिया इसको, बाकी देश बैन कर रहे हैं इस कुप्रथा को, अत्याचार को और अन्याय को। कोई भी अत्याचार और अन्याय कितना भी लंबा चले तो जो गलत है वो गलत रहेगा। इसका मतलब है कि उस अत्याचार के खिलाफ आवाज उठती रही, वो कुचली जाती रही। अब आवाज इतनी बुलंद होकर उठी है तो इसलिए उनको ये सोचना चाहिए कि उनके द्वारा औरतों पर जो अत्याचार और अन्याय हो रहा है उससे उनको कैसे मुक्ति दी जाए।
Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi also said that the Muslim community should not allow the triple talaq issue to be politicized and urged leaders of a leading Muslim community to initiate the process of reforms. In a meeting with leaders of the Jamaat Ulema-e-Hind, the Prime Minister reiterated his views that intellectuals from the community should come forward to fight the practice. Saying that India's speciality is its unity in diversity, he said that the government does not have any right to discriminate among citizens. The remarks came after CPIM leader Sitaram Yechuri said that the Prime Minister's campaign against triple talaq is a communal one. The Election Commission has rejected the Aam Aadmi Party's claims that its EVMs can be hacked, saying that the machine hacked in the Delhi Assembly was a look-alike gadget and not an actual equipment used during elections. The Delhi Assembly had on Tuesday adopted a resolution appealing to President Pranab Mukherjee and the Election Commission to hold elections through paper-tree-equipped electronic voting machines. In a day-long session of the Delhi Assembly, the Aam Aadmi Party staged a live demo of alleged EVM manipulation, claiming that anyone knowing a secret code can tamper with the machines. The party also claimed that the secret code can be fed into the machine while casting a vote.
ईवीएम के साथ छेड़छाड़ कैसे की जा रही है, उन्होंने दिखाया कि कितना आसान है छेड़छाड़ करना और बहुत बड़े स्तर के ऊपर छेड़छाड़ की जा रही है। ये देश के लिए बहुत बड़ा खतरा है, जनतंत्र के लिए बहुत बड़ा खतरा है और देश के हर नागरिक को इसके खिलाफ आवाज उठानी पड़ेगी। अरे आप अपनी ईवीएम दे दीजिए, उसका मदरबोर्ड चेंज करना है, 90 सेकंड लगते हैं, वो अपनी ईवीएम देंगे, उसका मदरबोर्ड चेंज करके दिखा देंगे।
Well, this came on a day when the Aam Aadmi Party's problems deepened, with suspended leader Kapil Mishra registering 3 complaints against Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal. Mishra has accused Kejriwal of corruption and has now begun his hunger strike against AAP, refusing to make details of the foreign visits of party leaders public.
The war within the Aam Aadmi Party further escalated on Tuesday as suspended leader and former Delhi Water Minister Kapil Mishra submitted 3 sets of complaints against Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal and other party leaders to the CBI. The party's Political Affairs Committee had suspended Mishra on Monday following his allegations of corruption against Kejriwal and Health Minister Satyendra Jain.
कैश एक्सचेंज की भी शिकायत दर्ज कराई है। अरविंद केजरीवाल जी के रिश्तेदारों की जो फर्म्स हैं उनको इलीगल तरीके से फ़ायदा पहुंचाने की शिकायत दर्ज कराई है और विदेश यात्राओं की शिकायत दर्ज कराई है। सबसे गंभीर जो मामला मेरे को कल शाम को पता लगा है, जो देश से जुड़ा हुआ मामला है, विदेश यात्राएं की गई हैं कुछ नेताओं के द्वारा, उसके डिटेल मैंने मांग की है सार्वजनिक करने की। अगर वो डिटेल अपने कहां गए, किन किन देशों में गए पिछले 2 सालों में नहीं बताते हैं तो मैं कल से अनशन पर बैठूंगा।
Meanwhile, the day-long Delhi Assembly session started on a stormy note as BJP MLA Vijendra Gupta tried to corner the government over Kapil Mishra's allegations. Gupta was marshalled out of the house, stalling assembly proceedings. Later, Gupta sat on a dharna in the assembly premises and demanded that both Arvind Kejriwal and Satyendra Jain be jailed.
भ्रष्टाचार का मामला उठाया और चाहा कि केजरीवाल जी इस पर जवाब दे। दस्तावेज सौंपने की कोशिश की, दस्तावेज तक केजरीवाल जी तक नहीं पहुंचने दिए गए और बिना किसी कारण के मुझे सदन से बाहर। मैं गांधी जी की मूर्ति पर बैठा हूं, लोकतंत्र की हत्या हो रही है, भ्रष्टाचार को बढ़ावा मिल रहा है और मैं चाहता हूं कि सत्येंद्र जैन को गिरफ्तार किया जाए।
अपना जब हलफनामा देती है तो इनकम टैक्स डिपार्टमेंट को कहती है कि मैंने 2013-14 में हमें 50 करोड़ 64 लाख रुपए प्राप्त हुए चंदे के रूप में। इनकम टैक्स डिपार्टमेंट को 50 करोड़ 64 लाख रुपया प्राप्त हुए बताने वाली आम आदमी पार्टी अरविंद केजरीवाल अपने वेबसाइट पे डालते हैं कि हमें प्राप्त हुआ है 19 करोड़ 82 लाख। क्या जो उड़ा वही 2 करोड़ के रूप में तुम्हारे आंगन में बरस रहा है जिसको कपिल मिश्रा ने देखा है?
भ्रष्टाचार के खिलाफ लड़ने वाली पार्टी के लोग खुद भ्रष्टाचार के अंदर संलग्न पाए जा रहे हैं। तो जो मुख्य मुद्दे जिनको लेकर के पार्टी बनी थी वो सारे के सारे मुख्य मुद्दे एक एक करके धाराशायी होते जा रहे हैं।
Facing the intense attack, the Delhi Chief Minister indicated that he will give answers to all the allegations levelled against him. Other AAP leaders too termed Mishra's allegations baseless.
इतना सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट का प्रेशर है ये एमएलएस के ऊपर, मिनिस्टर्स के ऊपर, जो भी केजरीवाल के नजदीक है उनके ऊपर, कि जो केजरीवाल का साथ देता है उसके ऊपर केस होते हैं, केजरीवाल के खिलाफ चलता है उसको रिवार्ड लिए जाते हैं। देखो बात ये है, बाहर का रास्ता तो जब कोई बेसलेस टोटली एलिगेशन लगाएगा जिसमें कोई दम ही नहीं है, इस तरह के एलिगेशन लगाएगा पार्टी में के जो कन्वीनर है, जो प्रधान है उसके खिलाफ, तो उसको तो बाहर का रास्ता दिखाया ही जाएगा और क्या होगा उसमें।
The latest crisis in the Aam Aadmi Party is one of the many since its formation 4 years ago. AAP faced a crushing defeat in the recently concluded state and MCD elections. Its internal rift also came out in the open after Okhla MLA Amanatullah Khan accused senior party member Kumar Vishwas of plotting a coup in the party on BJP's behest. Khan was later removed from the party's Political Affairs Committee. With inputs from Pranav Goswami and Anu Diwan, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And the Income Tax Department has issued a notice to the Aam Aadmi Party. The department has asked the party why it should not be prosecuted for alleged falsification of account books and willful attempt to evade tax on donations received by it. The show cause notice has been issued to Arvind Kejriwal and 3 others. A reply has been sought by the first half of this month. The tax department has charged the party with not filing true and correct contribution report for donations received for the assessment year 2014-15. The donations have been found to be over 30 crores after year-long investigations.
अपने वेबसाइट पे डालते हैं कि हमें प्राप्त हुआ है 19 करोड़ 82 लाख। अब मैं सोच रहा हूं कि ये जो बाकी का जो लगभग 30 करोड़ रुपया था वो किधर उड़ गया। इनकम टैक्स को दिया 50 करोड़ 64 लाख, वेबसाइट पे लिख रहे हो 19 करोड़ 42 लाख, तो ये 30 करोड़ किधर उड़ गया? क्या जो उड़ा वही 2 करोड़ के रूप में तुम्हारे आंगन में बरस रहा है जिसको कपिल मिश्रा ने देखा है?
With a quick break here, more news follows in a bit. Stay with us.
Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela, affectionately known as Madiba, was South Africa's first democratically elected president, an international peacemaker and statesman, and a Nobel Peace Prize winner. Through a long career as an activist, Mandela was a crusader for equal rights for South Africa's black majority. Having undergone frequent imprisonment, in 1964, Mandela was sentenced to life in jail. Charged with sabotage, treason, and violent conspiracy, he narrowly escaped the gallows. He was released in 1990, having initiated talks with South African President de Klerk towards ending apartheid in the country. Mandela was awarded the Nobel Prize for Peace in 1993 for his efforts. In April 1994, the Mandela-led African National Congress won South Africa's first elections by universal suffrage. And Mandela was sworn in as president of the country's first multi-ethnic government. He retired from the presidency in 1999 and from public life in 2004. Nelson Mandela died on December 5, 2013 from a recurring lung infection.
Well, welcome back. In more national news now, members of the newly formed Public Accounts Committee, or the PAC, have called for an appraisal of the Prime Minister's pet projects, including Swachh Bharat and Jan Dhan Yojana. The Comptroller and Auditor General, or the CAG, may audit these government schemes. In the first meeting of the PAC, headed by the new chairman, Congress leader Mallikarjun Kharge, members also raised the issue of tax evasion by companies by misusing trusts. Members of the panel, who are MPs from various political parties, demanded that CAG do a performance appraisal or audit schemes such as Swachh Bharat, Skill India, Jan Dhan, Mudra, Smart City and Amrit, stating that CAG should be answerable and accountable in fact to the PAC. Dubey also said that the panel should take the demand forward with the government. Russian Deputy Prime Minister Dmitry Rogozin will be in the national capital today to review the status of bilateral ties, including cooperation in key areas of trade and defense. He will attend a meeting of the India-Russia Intergovernmental Commission on Trade, Economic and Cultural Cooperation, a key forum to address major issues concerning bilateral ties. Cooperation in strategic areas, including civil nuclear energy sector, may also figure in the talks. External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj will lead the Indian delegation at the meet. Both Swaraj and Rogozin are also expected to prepare ground for the annual summit between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Russian President Vladimir Putin, scheduled for later this year. At least 15 people have been killed in a squall that hit Bihar on Tuesday. Bihar witnessed a drop in temperatures after rainfall across the state. 2 persons died in Lakhisarai, Aurangabad, Madhubani and Begusarai districts, while it claimed 1 life each in Patna, Nalanda, Purnia, Darbhanga, Supol, Araria and Munger districts. Rain and storm also destroyed standing crops, damaged houses and uprooted trees in at least 11 districts. An ex gratia of 4 lakh rupees to the next of the kin of the deceased has been announced by the Bihar government. Also, thunderstorm and squall hit Shimla and surrounding areas in Himachal Pradesh. And this came on a day when the Indian Met Department, or the IMD, predicted a normal monsoon this year. It said that the monsoon could bring 100% rainfall instead of 96% that was predicted earlier. The prospects of the monsoon have brightened because of the reduction in the likelihood of El Nino. Now, El Nino is a phenomenon associated with the warming of Pacific waters. Here are more updates from across the country now in Nationwide. The Gujarat Assembly has passed the state GST bill in a special one-day session. With this, Gujarat joined the likes of Goa, Madhya Pradesh, Uttarakhand and Bihar, among others, in passing the state GST bill. In March, Parliament had passed 4 legislations related to GST for a nationwide rollout on the 1st of July, after which state assemblies were required to pass the state GST bill. IRCTC has offered delivery of rail tickets, allowing passengers to make payment through any payment mode, including cash. IRCTC, through its website and mobile app, has now introduced Pay on Delivery as one of the payment options for its customers. The option will facilitate the customers who book through travel agents to move to online medium. A Delhi court has directed Congress leader Jagdish Titler to clearly answer whether he wants to undergo a lie detector test in a 1984 anti-Sikh riots case. The court also passed a similar order regarding businessman Abhishek Verma and said that the probe agency's plea seeking permission for lie detection tests on both by the CBI was maintainable. On to international news, and US President Donald Trump on Tuesday abruptly fired FBI Director James Comey in the fallout over Comey's probe of Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Clinton's emails last year. Trump claimed Comey was no longer able to effectively lead the agency. Here are more details. Embroiled in a controversy surrounding his probe into whether Hillary Clinton's use of a private email server during her tenure as US Secretary of State compromised national security, James Comey was on Tuesday fired as the chief of the FBI. He had said in July 2016 that the case should be closed without prosecution, but then declared 11 days before the November 8th election that he had reopened the investigation because of a discovery of a new trove of Clinton-related emails. It was a decision Democrats believe cost Clinton's victory. But during a congressional hearing last week, Comey denied the implications.
Why didn't you just do the investigation as you would normally, with no public announcement?
Look, this was terrible. It makes me mildly nauseous to think that we might have had some impact on the election. But honestly, it wouldn't change the decision.
While Comey's actions have been questionable, President Trump's abrupt decision too has come under the scanner, since Comey was leading a criminal investigation into whether Trump's advisors colluded with the Russian government to steer the outcome of the 2016 presidential election. In a letter to Comey, President Trump wrote, "While I greatly appreciate you informing me on 3 separate occasions that I am not under investigation, I nevertheless concur with the judgment of the Department of Justice that you are not able to effectively lead the Bureau. It is essential that we find new leadership for the FBI that restores public trust and confidence in its vital law enforcement mission." But Democrats are calling the move Nixonian, comparing it to President Nixon's infamous decision to purge the Justice Department during the Watergate investigation. Trump's move immediately ignited Democratic calls for an independent prosecutor to lead the Russia probe.
This is part of a deeply troubling pattern from the Trump administration. They fired Sally Yates. They fired Preet Bharara. And now they fired Director Comey, the man leading the investigation. This does not seem to be a coincidence.
The White House said that the search for a new FBI director was to begin immediately. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. And the United States has said that it would supply arms and military equipment to Kurdish fighters battling the Islamic State group in Syria. The move is expected to anger key ally Turkey, which considers the Kurdish forces to be terrorists. The weapons are being delivered for use by Kurdish fighters ahead of the upcoming offensive to recapture Raqqa. It is the last major bastion for IS in Syria and the capital of their supposed caliphate. The announcement comes ahead of Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan's visit to Washington next week to meet with President Trump.
Yesterday, the president authorized the Department of Defense to equip Kurdish elements of the Syrian Democratic Forces as necessary to ensure a clear victory over ISIS in Raqqa, Syria. The SDF, partnered with enabling support from U.S. and coalition forces, are the only force on the ground that successfully seize Raqqa in the near future. We're keenly aware of the security concerns of our coalition partners in Turkey. We want to reassure the people and the government of Turkey that the U.S. is committed to preventing additional security risks and protecting our NATO ally. The U.S. continues to prioritize support for Arab elements of the SDF. Raqqa and all liberated territories should return to the governance of local Syrian Arabs. The fight for Raqqa will be long and difficult, but ultimately yet another defeat for ISIS and another step towards eliminating the ISIS threat that threatens peace and security in the region and the world.
And now to South Korea, where Liberal politician Moon Jae-in was officially announced as South Korea's new president on Wednesday. This marks the end of nearly a decade of conservative rule. Final results show Moon winning 41.08% of votes, while centrist candidate Anchal Su managed just 21.41%. Moon's victory will end months of political turmoil that led to Parliament's impeachment of Conservative former President Park Geun-hye over an extensive corruption scandal. In March, Park became the first democratically elected leader in South Korea to be removed from office, triggering a snap election to choose her successor. Soon after the verdict, the White House claimed that US President Donald Trump was looking forward to meeting with South Korea's new president. The US has been cautious about comments on Moon Jae-in since he has a moderate approach towards North Korea.
내일부터 저는 국민 모두의 대통령이 되겠습니다. 저를 지지하지 않았던 분들도 섬기는 통합 대통령이 되겠습니다.
And here's a look at what else is making news from around the world in World Wrap. US President Donald Trump has delayed the decision on withdrawing from the Paris Climate Accord amid disagreements about the nature of the pact. The US is awaiting for G7 countries to make a decision first before signing the 2015 accord. Trump had earlier vowed during his presidential campaign to cancel the US participation in the accord. China on Tuesday successfully tested a new guided missile in Bohai Sea near the tense Korean peninsula. However, Beijing did not specify when the missile was tested. The test was carried amid China's vociferous protests over US deployment of THAAD interceptor missiles in South Korea. Eleven children were among the 14 killed in an explosion at a house storing fireworks in central Mexico's Puebla state. Several others were injured during the blast, which took place in the town during preparations for a local festival. 9 people were killed on the spot and 5 more died after being taken to nearby hospitals. Pakistan on Tuesday summoned Iranian ambassador to express concern over the Iran army chief Mohammad Bagheri's remarks. He had said that Iran will hit safe havens of terrorists in Pakistan until Islamabad takes steps to stop militants from carrying out cross-border attacks. The army chief's remarks came after Iranian border troops were killed in a clash with militants. That's all on the Breakfast News. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a good day.